Hello, my name is Trista Anderson, and this is my presentation on organizational assessment. So for the purposes of the organizational assessment presentation, I'm going to be reviewing a department at Children's Mercy Hospital, Adele Hall campus in Kansas City, Missouri. The vision of Children's Mercy is to create a world of well-being for all children. The mission of Children's Mercy is a leading independent children's health organization dedicated to holistic care, translational research, breakthrough innovation, and educating the next generation of caregivers. Together, we transform the health, well-being, and potential of children with unwavering compassion for those most vulnerable. I also wanted to add in the values here. So the values are kindness, love and compassion with empathy, curiosity, the quest for knowledge with a passion to find answers, inclusion, respect for our differences with celebration of our uniqueness, team, stronger together with a commitment to one Children's Mercy, and integrity, honesty with accountability and transparency. So the unit I'm going to be talking about is 5 Sutherland. It is a 20-bed medical surgical unit located in Children's Mercy's Adele Hall campus that cares for patients with renal failure and transplant rehabilitation and liver failure and transplant specialties. So the primary diagnostic groups include renal, rehab, and liver and intestinal failure and transplant. During times of low census for our on-service patients, we also see general medical surgical patients as well. We primarily work with 3 medical teams: the gold team, who cares for all of our nephrology patients, the orange team, who cares for all of our liver patients, and the rehab team, who cares for our rehabilitation patients. The unit leadership team is made up of a nurse educator, 2 assistant directors, 1 for day shift and 1 for night shift, and a director. Recent challenges being faced by 5 Sutherland include construction that has closed down 3 to 4 rooms on our unit daily for over 1 year. This is challenging when we must flex staff to our neighbor unit to care for our on-service patients that we are unable to accommodate on our unit at this time due to the construction. Another recent challenge we have faced was the transplant services being shut down at Children's Mercy due to the lack of a transplant surgeon. Thankfully, transplant services have since been restored. However, during that downtime, we cared for many patients who were not on service for us, taking a toll on all of us as we weren't seeing our usual patient population. Leaders on the unit prioritize strong, trusting relationships with team members. They listen to concerns, are empathetic, and practice open communication. They encourage collaboration and teamwork within the department, creating an environment where staff feel safe to share ideas. The director of our unit has only served as our unit director for a little over a year. However, she has significant prior experience on another medical surgical unit as director. She implemented a new first cancel process last fall and hopes to make it easier for staff. Unfortunately, it did not pan out in the way leaders had hoped. They were quick to listen to staff feedback and revert back to our previous processes in order to minimize confusion and maximize staff satisfaction. Leaders being present and available during both night and day shift, I believe, have a positive effect on the department. The nurse educator also prioritizes coming in early so she can check in with night shift staff as well. I think the leader's energy has a significant impact on the department, and thankfully the department leaders understand the capacity they have to impact the behaviors, attitudes, and decisions of our staff, and I believe they prioritize their energy to ensure a better flow on the unit. I previously mentioned a few recent challenges that the unit has faced, including construction and an inactive transplant program. In light of the construction, the leaders developed a plan with our neighbor unit to be able to house on-service patients that we don't have room for on the unit to accommodate for our patients. The plan in place required that nursing staff from 5 Sutherland float to the neighboring unit to care for these patients if staffing allowed. Although this is not an ideal situation, the plan helped us best care for our on-service patients. The organization's transplant status being on hold came with caring for a new patient population that left us seeing many things we were not used to seeing. Leaders were understanding of our sacrifices and hardships during this time and frequently checked in with staff members to see if there was anything they could do to assist us. Personally, I can say I always felt supported by our leaders despite these challenges we faced. The leadership team on 5 Sutherland is aligned with the organization's mission and values. The leaders help translate values into meaningful practice by ensuring that staff feel supported, prepared, and educated enough to provide the best care to the patients on our unit. The leadership team possess many qualities that embody that of a quantum leader, including self-awareness, adaptability, resilience, interconnectedness, and compassion. Since we have briefly discussed how leaders have shown interconnectedness and adaptability, I'm going to focus on self-awareness, resilience, and compassion. The leaders are self-aware of their strengths, weaknesses, and biases. They have been open about their strengths, weaknesses, and biases with staff members. When I first began my career on the unit, we discussed biases significantly due to the nature of the work we do, and it was helpful for them to share how they cope with biases throughout their experiences at the bedside. The leaders demonstrate resilience by embracing challenges that are faced in the department and looking them as opportunities for growth. Throughout the duration of the construction process, the leaders have been resilient to the idea that when the process is done, it will allow even more comfortability for our patients and their families throughout the duration of their hospital stays. They are supportive of us as we work through this process and are quick to jump in to help when necessary. The leaders demonstrate compassion by keeping a positive environment despite what is happening on our unit. Previously, I discussed the importance of the leaders' energy on the unit being positive to ensure a positive work environment for staff. They actively listen to concerns and validate feelings to ensure that we feel supported by the leadership team. After reviewing the leadership team on 5 Sutherland, I am now going to give 3 recommendations that I believe would be beneficial for enhancing leadership effectiveness, team energy, and systemic adaptability. The first recommendation I want to make is in regards to cultivating a culture of risk-taking. On 5 Sutherland, I feel like the leadership team can be resistant to risk-taking and likes to take the safe route, which can make it difficult for improvements to be made. When floating to other units or talking with staff members on other units, I feel as if 5 Sutherland has less innovation happening, which is likely due to the lack of risk-taking culture on the unit. According to Ali et al., organizations that cultivate a culture of risk-taking, where failures are viewed as learning opportunities, tend to have higher levels of innovative output. This also creates an environment where employees feel empowered to explore new ideas and take bold initiatives without fear of negative consequences. According to Ali et al., when employees are less afraid to fail, they are more likely to engage in creative problem-solving and propose novel ideas that can lead to breakthrough innovation. I believe implementing a risk-taking culture on 5 Sutherland would be beneficial for the innovation and growth of the unit. The second recommendation I want to make is for the leaders to foster more spontaneous, which is a feature of adaptive thinking. Leaders on the unit lack spontaneity, which can lead to a lack of creativity and innovation within the unit. Try not to think of being spontaneous as acting on a whim or being impulsive, as this is not what this is referring to. I think it is important to not always look to the past for solutions or understanding, as that may not be the best to respond to this situation or this person right now. According to Zohar, spontaneous interactions can also create a more relaxed and engaging atmosphere, in return building stronger relationships. I believe the leadership team on 5 Sutherland working on being more spontaneous will create a dynamic that fosters a creative, adaptable, and stronger connection within team members. And the third recommendation is to engage employees. Albert et al. Discusses the importance of engaging employees to minimize toxic behaviors. I previously shared an example of a change the unit director made without engaging employees in the decision. Although the leadership team was quick to listen to feedback, and change the first cancel process, the whole situation may have been avoided if employees were engaged in the change process from the get-go. Employees should have the freedom to make suggestions and decisions, grow and learn, and become effective in their roles. Engaging employees is a career-long journey of mentoring with a goal to transfer leadership wisdom to aspiring leaders and all employees within the unit. Employees who feel successful and appreciated within the workplace will be able to truly leave at the end of the day, allowing them to maintain a healthy professional well-being. I believe that 5 Sutherland leadership team being more diligent about engaging employees will impact productivity, nurse retention, nurse satisfaction, and nurses who feel more included in decisions in regards to the department. And here are my references.